Do you want to increase the success and adaptability of your business? I've been reading this amazing book by Alize Hofmeester called Purpose-Driven People, and it has some amazing insights. Alize's primary objective is to assist us in comprehending how to build a business that is meaningful, sustainable, and successful. I'll dissect the main concepts in this synopsis and demonstrate how you may use them in your own company. Click the like button, ring the bell, and subscribe to stay up to date on our most recent discoveries. The title of Chapter 1 is Tess Discovers Her Mission. The author emphasizes how crucial it is for a company to have a distinct mission. Knowing why you're performing your work is just as important as really doing it. Employees who have a strong sense of purpose are more connected to the organization's core, which increases the meaning and fulfillment of their work. Suppose Tess works at a company where she feels disengaged from her work and is merely going through the motions. But as she realizes what her mission is, everything gets clear. Her relationships at work improve, she feels more driven, and she enjoys her everyday activities more. It's as though a switch switches, and she starts to contribute to something greater rather than just working for a salary. Let's examine the most important takeaways from this chapter. First, purpose drives motivation. Happiness and motivation are fueled by a distinct purpose. It makes workers feel more invested in their jobs. Second, valuable relationships are important. Relationships at work are strengthened by purpose as well. When everyone agrees, working together and providing support to one another becomes simpler. The second chapter is called Awareness and Communication. Making sure that everyone is aware of the changes occurring around them and is on the same page is just as important as simply talking. The chapter discusses the importance of communication, what to say, and how to maintain the conversation. Consider a corporation that is undergoing a significant transition, such as adopting a new plan. In the absence of clear communication, staff members may feel excluded or confused. However, staff members become more involved and helpful when the organization actively shares the rationale behind the change, clarifies expectations, and pays attention to input. It's similar to constructing a bridge between the team and the leadership to make sure everyone is moving in unison toward the same objective. Here are a few strategies. First, purposeful communication. Sharing the reasoning behind decisions and adjustments is just as important to effective communication as simply broadcasting messages. This aids in employees' comprehension of the wider picture. The second point is that communication needs to be two-way. Everyone remains involved and in agreement when issues are addressed and input is listened to. Chapter 3's title is Identifying Constraints. The obstacles or bottlenecks that impede efficient operations are known as constraints. The chapter discusses the importance of considering these limitations, how they may affect agility, and how to deal with them. Consider a business that is attempting to implement an agile workflow but is experiencing delays. Their hiring procedure has a bottleneck since it is antiquated and moves too slowly. The organization can improve hiring efficiency and responsiveness to business demands by recognizing this constraint and concentrating on resolving it. It has to do with converting obstacles into stepping stones. What is this chapter teaching us? Number 1. Identify constraints. Identifying an issue is the first step towards solving it. Constraints are indicators that the system has to adapt in some way. Number 2. Agility contradictions. By overcomplicating procedures, organizations that purport to be agile might inadvertently impose more restrictions. It's critical to reduce complexity and concentrate on what counts. Chapter 4's title refers to role modeling. It highlights that being a leader involves more than just overseeing activities. It also entails motivating others and setting an example. The chapter covers topics such as the distinction between distributed leadership, managing versus leading, and the role model's role in fostering a culture of purpose and trust. Imagine a group that finds it difficult to adjust to a new work schedule. Instead of just enforcing the regulations, the manager decides to set an example. This leader sets an example for others by being patient, adopting the new system, and supporting one another. The group begins to emulate this conduct, and before long, they are not just surviving, but also thriving. Herein lies the efficacy of role modeling in practice. What does this chapter instruct us on? First, Set an example. Acts speak louder than words when it comes to leadership. When leaders exhibit the behavior they like to see in others, people are motivated to do the same. Number 2, managing to leading. The shift from managing to leading is putting people first rather than tasks. Effective leaders instill a feeling of purpose and empower their workers. The topic of Chapter 5 is community building. It illustrates that fostering a healthy community involves more than just getting people together. It also entails establishing an environment that fosters diversity, cooperation, and collective intelligence. This chapter discusses the fundamentals of creating a community, the advantages of group intelligence, and how to prevent echo chambers so that a variety of viewpoints can be openly expressed. Suppose a business is experiencing a creativity block. With the same team members, they've attempted brainstorming sessions, but nothing fresh is emerging. They then decide to include individuals from various departments and backgrounds to foster a more welcoming environment. All of a sudden, the business is inundated with creative alternatives it had never thought of before. This is how community development works. The following are some tactics. First, collective intelligence. When different minds come together, the group's collective intelligence significantly surpasses what any one person could do on their own. It all comes down to using the group's power. Number 2, diversity matters. It's important to stay out of echo chambers. Diverse viewpoints guarantee the emergence of fresh, creative ideas. The 6th chapter, Learning Organization, addresses how learning must become ingrained in organizational culture and become a regular aspect of working hours. It highlights that learning is about cultivating a mentality that promotes curiosity, growth, and resilience, rather than just picking up new abilities. Consider a business that has spent years adhering to the same schedule. They begin to realize they are lagging behind more creative rivals. Rather than flailing, they choose to invest in an educational culture. Workers are urged to take on new tasks, grow from setbacks, and never stop improving. This mentality change eventually aids the business in regaining its competitive advantage. That is how a learning organization is powerful. What new information does this chapter offer? First, learning culture. Establishing a culture where learning is promoted at all levels, from frontline staff to leadership, is essential. Number 2, growth mindset. The secret to ongoing progress is developing a mindset that welcomes obstacles and views failure as a teaching moment. Chapter 7's title is The Ecosystem. It emphasizes the significance of digital transformation, sustainability, and ecological adaptation to changing conditions. It demonstrates that the key to success is realizing and taking advantage of these linkages. Consider a tech business that is creating a novel product. Rather than handling everything internally, they work with a variety of partners, including manufacturers, designers, and even other information technology companies. They may innovate more quickly, cut expenses, and produce a product that better meets consumer needs by utilizing this ecosystem. Modern ecosystems are driven to success in this way. Important observations to make in this chapter are as follows. First, interconnectedness. No business exists in a vacuum. Understanding and interacting with a larger ecology is essential for success. Number 2, sustainability. Long-term sustainability is the top priority in a robust ecosystem, which strikes a balance between profit and social and environmental responsibility. You may build a successful business by emphasizing your mission, giving your staff members a lot of freedom, and developing a solid corporate culture. I sincerely hope you enjoy this video. Please subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell.